They both go silent, each one believing silence means power, each one convinced distance equals control. But silence isn't peace, it's movement you can't see. It's the start of a shift neither side predicts. You tell yourself no contact protects you. You call it strength, detachment, control. You swear you don't need closure, but your brain disagrees. It's not wired for uncertainty. It needs feedback, rhythm, contact. When all that disappears, the mind panics. That ache in your chest isn't heartbreak, it's withdrawal. Dopamine drops, focus fades. You scroll, you wait, you replay moments. The silence starts echoing. Every thought becomes a message that never sends. This is where most people crack. They break the silence to feel alive again. They chase just to escape discomfort. But when you stop reacting, everything changes. Your nervous system starts to settle. You begin to detach not from her, but from the need for control. That's when the shift happens. She starts to feel the same uncertainty you once did. Her freedom turns restless. Her relief turns heavy. She begins to notice your absence as a presence. And you start to feel something new. Stillness that isn't emptiness. Power that doesn't need validation. Because silence, when held with purpose, doesn't mean the end. It means the game just flipped. Point number 1, the illusion of calm. When was the last time you told yourself you were fine, but you knew you were lying? You looked in the mirror, maybe after a workout, and said, "I'm good." But deep down you felt the noise, the spinning thoughts, the weight behind the quiet. You scroll her profile. You don't like, you don't comment. You tell yourself you've moved on, but your mind keeps reaching, even when your hands don't. That's the illusion of calm. You think silence means control, but often it just means suppression. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Simple words, hard to live by. The Stoics sat with storms. They didn't hide from them. They faced discomfort until it became ordinary. Now think of your world. You silence your phone, block the contact, stay off her feed. You build walls, call it strength. But those walls aren't peace. They're protection from your own thoughts. You can't fake stillness. You can't fake detachment. If your pulse still jumps when her name appears, the war isn't over. Real calm isn't a pose. It's not ignoring what hurts. It's letting the pain exist without chasing it. It's standing in the middle of the chaos and not needing to move. You'll feel the urge to reach out, to explain, to fix. That's your old wiring begging for certainty. Don't give it what it wants. Sit in the unease until it breaks before you do. Train your silence. Ask yourself, is my calm real or just a cover for fear? Because the next stage isn't peace, it's exposure. When the illusion fades, your mind stands alone. That's when you see what's real. And as the silence deepens, you'll notice something strange. The calm stops pretending and begins to fight back. Point number 2, the brain's withdrawal reflex. Have you ever wondered why silence feels like pain? Why no contact burns worse than words ever could? It's not weakness, it's biology. You sit on the edge of your bed at 2 a.m., phone dark, room quiet. But your brain isn't silent. It's screaming for input, for a signal that you still matter. You refresh her page. You check your messages. Nothing. That absence hits like a chemical crash. Because it is one. The human brain builds patterns around connection. Texts, calls, laughter, each one releases dopamine. When that pattern breaks, your mind spirals into withdrawal. It's not heartbreak. It's dependency unraveling. Epictetus said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things." He was describing this exact moment. In Rome, it was a missed letter, a silence from the Senate. Now it's the unread message and the phone that never lights up. Different tools, same wiring. The mind confuses silence with danger, so it pushes you to act, to send the text, to fill the gap. But every time you do, you feed the addiction again. The antidote is brutal. You stop chasing dopamine. You let the brain starve until it rewires. That's how you shift from craving to control. You'll feel the pull, the itch to break silence. The lie that one message will calm the storm. Don't believe it. Stillness is withdrawal's cure. Let the discomfort burn. It's how you reclaim power from impulse. Train your stillness. Ask yourself, am I in control or am I just feeding a craving? Because what comes next is the turning point. When her relief fades and your silence holds, the balance starts to move, and the power that once drained you begins to return in full. Point number 3, her early relief. She feels it first, relief. That soft, empty quiet after disconnection. No more pressure, no more questions, no more weight. She tells herself she's free. That silence means peace. She posts a photo, smiles in public, laughs louder than before. Friends say she looks happier. She agrees. But deep inside, the silence is not stillness. It's space filling with delayed consequences. At first, her brain celebrates the release. Cortisol drops. The nervous system relaxes. She confuses that temporary calm with healing. It's not healing. It's pause, a momentary escape from emotional exposure. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. Freedom without friction feels good until it feels empty." The Stoics knew comfort is the slowest trap, and that's exactly what begins to happen here. Days pass. The silence that once soothed her begins to stretch. She opens your chat, sees the blank space, scrolls back through old words. She closes it quickly, pretending it meant nothing. But her rhythm is broken. Your predictability, once taken for granted, is gone. Avoidance feeds on control. It only feels safe when it knows your next move. Your stillness removes that control. Now uncertainty creeps in. Questions begin forming that she can't quiet. Has he moved on? Did he stop caring? Why does this feel different this time? That's when relief starts turning into restlessness. She feels the pressure rise again. Only now it's inside her, not around her. The calm she celebrated becomes her mirror. It reflects everything she refused to face. Train your distance. Ask yourself, can you hold silence long enough for her comfort to collapse? Because once her relief fades, the silence stops working for her. It starts working for you. And that's when the balance begins to shift in your favor. Point number 4, your inner collapse. You wake up and feel the weight before your eyes even open. That hollow drop in your chest. The silence hits before the morning light does. You tell yourself you're fine, but every cell disagrees. You grab your phone. Nothing. No message, no call, just the echo of what used to be constant. The brain starts firing the same pathways it uses for addiction. You're not missing her. You're missing the regulation she provided. It's chemical, predictable. You built a pattern around her attention, and now your nervous system is starving. You scroll, pace, lift heavier at the gym. You distract yourself, but nothing lands. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." He was reminding himself to control response when reality bites. The ancient world didn't have texts or social media, but men still face silence that cut the same way. Your collapse isn't weakness, it's withdrawal. The ego hates not being seen. It wants to act, explain, prove worth. That's how it stays alive. But this moment, this crash, is where transformation begins. You have two options. You break the silence to calm the noise, or you let the noise burn until it dies on its own. Most men chase relief. Few choose mastery. You sit with the discomfort. You feel every ache, every doubt, every memory, and you don't move. That's the discipline most never reach. It feels like losing yourself, but it's actually the mind shedding dependence. This is how stillness hardens into control. This is where emotion stops leading and starts obeying. Train your endurance. Ask yourself, can you stay still while everything inside you shakes? Because when you can, the silence stops feeling like death. It starts feeling like power, and that power will soon begin to turn outward. Point number 5. When doubt enters her mind, it always starts small. A random thought that she brushes off. A memory she didn't expect to feel again. At first, she tells herself it's nothing, but doubt has already entered. She checks your profile, quick and quiet. Just curiosity, she tells herself. She watches your story, lingers too long, then locks her phone as if caught doing something wrong. That's how it begins. Your silence disturbs her rhythm. It used to be predictable. She knew how you'd respond, when you'd fold, when you'd reach. Now nothing. That void she created starts talking back to her. Epictetus said, Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him. The same applies here. Silence doesn't create emotion, it exposes it. When you stay still, she sees what she truly feels, not what she pretended to. She begins wondering if you've moved on, if your calm is strength or disinterest. She replays moments, the last words, the last look, trying to find the exact second she lost the frame. That's when the power begins to reverse. Her freedom starts to feel unstable. Your stillness becomes the thing she can't predict. And unpredictability breeds anxiety. She posts a subtle story, a song lyric, a photo meant for you to notice. You don't react. You've detached from the outcome. And that silence, once her weapon, becomes her reflection. Now doubt grows roots. It doesn't leave easily. She feels the distance she once demanded closing in on her. It's not punishment. It's consequence. Train your restraint. Ask yourself, can you stay grounded while she starts to reach? Because the moment you can, you stop being the one reacting. You become the one setting rhythm. And that rhythm is what turns silence into command. Point number 6. Silence as a mirror. When everything goes quiet, most men panic. You check your phone, replay old words, stare at empty screens. You think silence is her message, but it's not. It's your reflection. The truth hides in the stillness. Every thought, every habit, every weakness you've been avoiding surfaces there. You start to see who you really are when no one is feeding your ego, and it's uncomfortable. That's why most men break first. You think you miss her. But what you actually miss is the distraction she gave you from yourself. When she pulled away, she didn't just leave your life. She left you alone with your own noise. Seneca once said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." He meant that direction, not emotion, defines a man. In ancient times, silence was training, a test of whether a man's thoughts controlled him or he controlled them. Now it's your test. When you sit alone and the mind starts spinning, you either chase escape or build command. Every second of restraint is muscle. Every moment of stillness is proof. Silence doesn't punish you. It teaches you. It shows how much of your peace depended on someone else. It strips away illusions and leaves you with truth. And truth always hurts before it strengthens. You'll notice the shift when your silence stops being forced, when it becomes natural, when her name passes through your thoughts without tension. That's when you've turned reflection into mastery. Train your awareness. Ask yourself, what does my silence show me that words never could? Because once you face what the mirror reveals, you stop fearing solitude. You start using it. And the silence that once exposed your weakness now becomes the tool that rebuilds your strength. Point number 7, the flip of power. It happens quietly. No announcement, no message, just a subtle shift in energy. The balance that once leaned against you begins to move. At first she doesn't notice. She assumes your silence is temporary, that you'll eventually fold like before. But days pass, weeks pass, and nothing. No call, no chase, only calm. That calm is what breaks her first. The same silence that gave her relief now feels heavy. Her thoughts start working against her. She wonders if you've replaced her. If your peace means indifference, the power flips when curiosity becomes anxiety. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." You don't mirror her games. You don't try to prove anything. You rise by staying centered. That's the moment her emotions begin orbiting yours. She starts testing small signals, old songs, subtle posts, each one meant to pull a reaction. But your stillness tells a different story. You've detached from outcome. You no longer seek control, you embody it. Now she feels what you once did. The uncertainty, the waiting, the wondering. But here's the difference. You're not playing to win her back. You're playing to win yourself. This reversal isn't about ego. It's about evolution. You learn to stand in silence until silence bowed to you. That's the threshold few men reach. Train your composure. Ask yourself, can I stay calm when the power returns? Because the final test isn't getting her attention back. It's keeping your peace when you do. And once that control becomes internal, nothing external can shake it again. That's the real flip. When silence stops being her weapon and becomes your way of life. Point number 8, Stoic Command. You've reached the point where silence no longer hurts. It doesn't shake you, it centers you. You've seen the storm, felt the withdrawal, faced the mirror. Now you stand still, calm, deliberate, awake. The noise inside you has quieted. What once felt like loss now feels like clarity. You don't crave her messages. You don't need the validation. You finally understand the truth the Stoics lived by. Control what you can, release what you can't. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." This is where that wisdom becomes real. A man doesn't chase closure, he builds it. He doesn't beg for peace, he trains for it. Your silence is no longer defense, it's structure. It's the sound of a man who no longer negotiates with chaos. You move slower, but with intent. You speak less, but with purpose. You act only when action serves your direction. That's Stoic Command. It's not emotionless, it's disciplined emotion. It's the difference between reacting and responding, between needing power and being power. Now she'll feel it. Everyone does, because grounded men create gravity. They don't chase presence, they become it. Train your command. Ask yourself, have I built peace that silence cannot shake? Because this is the end of the game and the start of mastery. When your emotions obey you, when calm becomes your nature, you've left the field of reaction behind. And from this point forward, every silence you choose is not escape, it's control.